Hi everyone! Today we're going to be talking about Pope Pius II, also dubbed the Pagan Pope. And we're going to be talking about how he got this very interesting nickname. So, Pope Pius II, as you know by now, he wasn't born pious, was he? He was born Enea Silvio Piccolomini. Enea Silvio Piccolomini was born, where the hell is the ginger? Here it is. Enea Silvio Piccolomini was born in a little town called Corsignano. However, Corsignano in the province of Siena, if you go there today, you won't find Corsignano because Corsignano has a different name now. And we'll get to that very soon on how it changed its name because it's relevant to our story. So, he was born in this little town because his family was actually a noble family of very important origins from Siena, and it's like one of the historical noble families of this city. However, in the late 1300s, his family had been kicked out of Siena because of its political position. In fact, they were fighting to give back the power to the noble people in Siena. And so they had been kicked out and they ended up living in the Corsignano area because this was the land that belonged to them. But they had kind of fallen from grace and they had become, you know, for noble standards, they had become quite poor. So he kind of felt like it was his job to bring the family back up in an important position, okay? So he was born here in 1405 and he was sent by his father. He was one of 18 children, okay? And only 3 out of these 18 children made it to adulthood, him and 2 sisters. So he was very, very close to these 2 sisters, which were the only ones which had made it into adulthood. He was sent to Siena to become, to study law. The University of Siena was already a very, very important university. It's still a very important university, one of the most important universities in Italy. And at this point, it was already a very famous university of Europe. It was opened in the 1240s, okay? So he goes to study law, but even though his father wants him to study law, he doesn't actually like to study law. It's not his passion. His real passion is classic literature. Okay, so while studying law in Siena, he's actually spending his nights and all his lunch money on borrowing and copying the classics. Okay, so imagine being in a time in which being a rebel was to go and study ancient Greek and Latin literature, okay? So he would actually go off to Florence as well to go and follow the lessons of great translators of ancient Greek and Latin. And as I said, books at this point cost a lot of money, so he was copying them himself, okay, the classics. He already starts to be noticed as being someone who is very educated and very informed, and he's just a very good student as well. And he ends up being noticed by a clergyman who's making his way up to Basel in Switzerland to go to the council. This is a council that will last about I want to say 15 years, and it's the council of Basel, Ferrara and Florence because it kind of gets moved around various times in between these cities. And so he becomes like a secretary for this clergyman, which is making this cardinal, which is making his way up to Basel. And this is where he gets introduced to the world of clergy. Okay, and he will end up being working for many clergymen and being like an active kind of secretary within the Council of Basel itself. Okay, so he will be noticed for being just a very reliable person within this kind of situation which is happening. Okay. During these years, he also manages to visit a lot of different countries. He is a great diplomat as well. He does various jobs as a diplomat for the council itself and for various clergymen. He ends up also spending some time in Scotland for this reason too. And it is in Scotland that he has a child from a woman. He records himself. He writes a lot of the information that we have today is actually coming from his autobiography. Okay, he is very much of kind of celebrating himself and a bit of a megalomaniac. Okay, so he writes his own autobiography, and he writes also a lot of books of geography and kind of describing all these different areas that he visits during this period of his life. Okay, so when he describes this period of his life, he talks about the flings he has, but he also describes it as a period of abstinence. So apparently these flings that he has are actually him trying to contain himself. Okay, however, he ends up having two children, one with a woman in Scotland and one with a Breton woman, and both these children he kind of sends them back to his father to be raised by his father in Corsignano. So he slowly kind of advances within the clergy, but at this point he still is a layman. He's not become a priest or anything like that. He's just someone that works kind of within the clergy, but more from like a bureaucratic point of view. But he's already starting to make a name of it for himself as being someone that's very, very good at this. During these years, he also writes some erotic novels. He loves writing like erotic poetry, and there's a very famous book that he writes, which is The Story of Two Lovers, it's called, which is very, very sexual. Okay, you know those, I mean, here in Italy, you have those erotic novels that you pick up at gas stations, which are very kind of like sexual in nature. That's the kind of novel that it is, okay? If you read even some extracts from it, it's kind of funny to think that it's been written by, you know, the guy that will become a pope later on. And he writes about himself that he's been many women he has known and loved, okay? So he's very much a ladies' man. He will also be involved. Now, you have to think that this council, the council of Basel and Ferrara and Florence, one of the things that it's trying to do is resolve the schisma between the church, the Catholic Church, and the Greek Orthodox Church. Okay, these are the years in which Constantinople is its own form of Christianity, right? And there's this schisma between these two forms of Christianity. And Constantinople is under threat from the Ottoman Empire, from the Turks, okay? So during this period, we have this council, which, among other things, is trying to reconcile the two churches because Constantinople needs help from the West to fight off the Turks, okay? These are the years of the papacy of Eugene IV, and Eugene IV is kind of not really happy with some of the directions which the council is taking. So at some point he leaves the council and runs off. And during this period, we actually have the council that tries to depose Eugene IV and re-elect another pope, which is Felix V. And Pope Pius II, he is not Pope Pius II yet, he is still in Ea Silvio Piccolomini, he is actually involved in the election of this, what will later become an anti-pope. So Felix V, which is this anti-pope. Now, Felix V will not have a lot of, will not be sustained very much at all by anyone, really. And Ea Silvio Piccolomini is his secretary. So this doesn't put him in a very good light in the eyes of Eugene IV. So later he will kind of run away, and when Felix is deposed and when kind of he realizes what a bad light this has put him in, and he will actually go and serve the emperor and then later make peace with Eugene IV, okay? This will also be very forming years for him, because this concept of trying to save Constantinople, which in his eyes, Constantinople is kind of the last stronghold of Christianity in the East. Okay, and in Constantinople there's a lot of also literature which has been conserved, which is very dear to him, like classical literature. So he really would like for Constantinople to be saved, okay, and for this big schisma to be, this big rupture in the Christian church to be kind of mended, all right? And in fact, this the Council of Basel, Florence and Ferrara will actually end with a reconciliation between the two churches. So at the beginning, it looks like the two churches will be reunited, okay? There's actually some beautiful frescoes in Florence, in the Medici Palace, that show some of the people which were involved in this council and in this attempted reconciliation, because it was actually the King of Constantinople who came to Florence to try to advocate for this reconciliation. And so there is this fresco where you have the three wise men coming to see baby Jesus, and the three wise men are represented with portraits of the Patriarch of Constantinople, so the leader of the church there, and with Giovanni Paleologo, which is the king of Constantinople. So we have the actual portraits of these people which came for the council represented in some frescoes in Florence. So these were very, very important days, which and something just very important that the church was trying to do. And Pope Pius II, the future Pope Pius II, is seeing all of this, and these are very forming years for him. Okay, I'm telling you, because later he will really, really try to kind of form a crusade against the Ottoman Empire. And I think that it comes a lot from what is happening during these days of his life before even being a cardinal. Okay. So just to tell you how it ends up with, it looks like the two churches have been reunited, but it then falls apart because Constantinople is Istanbul today. So obviously it didn't go well, because when then the people which are representing the Greek Orthodox Church go back to Constantinople, it turns out that the people didn't actually want a reconciliation with the Catholic Church. So there's actually this saying which is going around Constantinople saying, we prefer the turban to the tiara. The tiara is the hat that the Pope wears. So the people are like, we literally would prefer to become Muslim and to fall under the Turks than to become reconciliated with the Church, with the Catholic Church, and to be under the Pope. Okay, and in fact, later Constantinople will fall to the Turks, to the Ottoman Empire, and to this very day, Constantinople is today part of Turkey. Okay, and is Istanbul. Now, however, when this happens, Enea Silvio Piccolomini doesn't feel this as something final. He is still hoping one day to regain Constantinople again and reunite the churches, and this will become a very important part of his papacy. So he finally decides that he is going to become a priest, and once he becomes a priest, he climbs the ranks very, very fast. He becomes Bishop of Siena, although the people of Siena, which he's very proud of, right, because it's like finally the Piccolomini family can go back to Siena, rightfully go back to Siena after that they were kicked out the century before. The people of Siena, however, don't really like him as a bishop, because they're worried that this means that the Piccolomini family is going to reconquer Siena, and that Siena is going to become stop being a republic because of him. So they're not greatest supporters of him becoming a bishop. Then he becomes cardinal with Callistus III, who we'll talk about in a following video, who is the first Borgia Pope. And this is when he connects for the first time with Rodrigo Borgia, who will later become Pope Alexander VI, okay? It is with a great support on behalf of Rodrigo Borgia that he is elected as Pope Pius II. Now, this is a very interesting decision on behalf of the cardinals which elect him, okay? The fact that they, just a moment. Yeah, Giacomo's hungry. So yes, we are cooking. Keep calm. Okay. So, getting back to us. You'll eat it even if it's burnt though, right? Okay. So, getting back to us, so he's become Pope, and this is an interesting choice. I told you he was dubbed the pagan Pope because these are years in which really the Renaissance is happening. The Renaissance is, as we've talked about in another video, is really the going back to the Greco-Roman antiquities for inspiration in the arts. And I told you how obsessed he was with the Greco-Roman antiquity in literature, so much that he writes a lot of inspired kind of literature himself. And so the choice of him is really trying to choose someone that really knows the ins and outs of the church and of the bureaucracy of the church, because he's been so much involved for years, but also someone which is in touch with the times and the new fashions of the Greco-Roman antiquity. So he is really a Renaissance Pope, and it's for this reason that he is dubbed the pagan Pope. Okay, he will be very much about celebrating the Greco-Roman antiquity. He will finance some archaeological digs as well. And I told you he's a bit of a megalomaniac. So he actually refurbishes his native town of Corsignano in Renaissance town. So he transforms it into a little Renaissance utopia, and he renames it with the name Pienza, because Pio in Italian, Pius, so Pio, Papa Pio II, Pio Pienza. So he literally renames his hometown with his own name. That's how much of a megalomaniac he is. And all within this beautiful Renaissance style, the architect which he sends is Bernardo Rossellino, who is a pupil of Leon Battista Alberti, who is like the theorist of Renaissance architecture. You know, Leon Battista Alberti is the one that writes the books on how the Renaissance architecture should look like, based on books which were written by Vitruvius in ancient Rome, again about architecture, okay? And he actually appoints Rodrigo Borgia to overlook the work on Pienza during those years. Okay, but really what he's most interested in, this is a pope which is not so much interested in making money as other popes that we will see. He is interested in glory. He is interested in what the classics named the good death, okay? A death in glory, because he's literally obsessed with Greco-Roman antiquity and with the classics, and that is the kind of glory that he is looking for. Even his name has that. I'm talking about the name he was born with. Now, Enea, the name Enea is a very important name for the Greco-Roman antiquity, because you probably heard about the Iliad and the Odyssey, right? These two pieces of literature, the Poemi Omerici, which we never figured out how to say that in English, also in another video, which were written in theory by Homer. And these are like the most iconic kind of literature of ancient Greece. The Romans, who were also obsessed with ancient Greece culture, wanted their own piece of literature to be similar to these, to the Iliad and the Odyssey, and so they commissioned a book to be written by Virgil during ancient Roman times, and this book had to celebrate the basically the origins of Rome. And the protagonist of this book was Enea, the mythical Enea, who was the founder of the lineage who would then give life to Romulus and Remus, who were the builders, the first king of Rome, okay? So Enea, very important name for anyone who is into the Greco-Roman antiquity. And so he was already born with this name on him. Now, one of the one of the nicknames of Enea within the Aeneid was Pio. So that's why he chooses the name Pio. That's why he decides to be Pope Pius II, because Enea was nicknamed Pius within the Aeneid. Okay, so he wants to be remembered, he wants the glory, and he thinks he can obtain that glory by organizing a crusade against the Ottoman Empire, which has taken Constantinople. Okay, so he tries to organize a crusade the first time. Many popes are trying to organize crusades during this period. As I was saying, many popes are trying to organize crusades during this period to fight against the Ottoman Empire. Callistus tried some as well. Other popes will try this. No one really manages, okay? Pope Pius II is not the only one trying to do this, but he's definitely makes this the kind of reason for his papacy. He tries the first time, tries to get many kings, and rulers involved. No one gives a toss, to be perfectly honest. So you know what he tried? You'll never guess what he tries to do. So he's like, if I can't do a crusade, maybe I can convert them. So he is such a megalomaniac, is so sure of himself and so sure of his eloquence and his capabilities as a writer that he writes a letter to Mehmet II, okay, the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, trying to convince him to convert to Christianity, and he offers him the crown as an emperor if he will convert to Christianity. Obviously, it does not work out. So he tries a second time with a crusade. We talked about relics before, he flaunts around the head of St. Andrew, and he organizes for everyone to come and worship the head of St. Andrew in Rome, and to convince everyone to go on this crusade, because St. Andrew is a saint which is very dear to crusaders. Does not work out. He believes, though, in himself so much that actually his death will be in Ancona. As he makes his way to Ancona, convinced that he's like managed to convince everyone to join him there, to set off with these ships to go on this crusade. And when he gets there, like, he's already half dead because he's like not very healthy. When he gets there, he finds that no one is there waiting for him to set off on this crusade. So it's this very sad moment of him kind of dying in Ancona, as he finds out that this crusade is just never going to happen. And was his end. This is how he ends his life in Ancona without being able to set off on this crusade. But still an incredible life. And I have to say, he's one of my favorite popes. So if you come to Italy, definitely come and visit Pienza and see what he left in his name.